Edo State is facing fresh questions over its fiscal direction as the state's domestic debt rises sharply under Governor Monday Okpebholo. According to the latest Debt Management Office, figures cited by Premium Times, Edo's domestic debt rose from 113 billion naira at the end of 2024 to 172.37 billion naira by March 2026, moving the state from the 12th to 6th amongst Nigeria's most indebted states. The increase came after the debt had initially fallen during 2025.
Meanwhile, there has been a significant political development in the Edo State House of Assembly. Blessing Agbebaku has resigned as Speaker, citing personal reasons, and lawmakers have elected Yekini Idiaye, representing Akoko Edo Constituency 1, as his successor. The House also approved the nomination of Natasha Osawaru as minority leader. The leadership change comes amid reports of an impeachment move against the former speaker, raising questions about the political dynamics within the legislature and its relationship with the Governor Monday Okpebholo-led administration. Joining us to discuss all of these is Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the Edo State Governor. We have Bugie joining us, Mr. Bugie Okhuemoi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start off first. I think a few days ago here on Breakfast Central, we had taken time on our Wake Up Conversation segment to look at the debt profile of Edo State, rising 12 to 6, and try to link that with the reactions we saw by netizens on social media complaining that the debt profile is rising, infrastructure is not being seen, and they were also able to link that with videos. What's your take on that, and what is the Edo State Governor's response to all of that agitation?
Thank you very much. Good to be with you guys. I'm happy you started with your report. Would like to express some reservations about how that report was done. It didn't seem to have been done with the best of faith. When that report was done, no information was sought, no investigation was done. You didn't reach out to the state governor or to the state government. And even the way it was couched, in the report, allusions were made, connections were tried to make between the debt and the governor's recent announcement of appointment. And then, what made it a bit funnier, somehow the story from debt kind of connected with the governor and the Osun State situation. So I think that was it. While we can't control how you guys, choose to present your material, we only ask that you're a bit fair on us. Having said that, I would like to state, firstly and most importantly, that the governor of Edo State, His Excellency Senator Monday Okpebholo, has not taken a dime as loan to directly fund any of its expenses, whether recurrent or whether capital. The governor has not taken a loan, any dime, to fund any of its expenses. All of the governor's activities have been funded largely from the federal allocation and the IGR. Now, the debt situation that you referred to, just a little bit of digging would have explained the situation with that debt. In June 2025, the Edo State House of Assembly approved a 100 billion naira guaranteed contractor financing obligation. What that basically meant was that because the governor was very particular, the governor has a zero policy on abandoned projects. Whatever projects are started to the best of his ability, he will ensure that it is completed. And the only reason any project will not be completed is because of time, not resources or management. Because of that policy, the governor, realizing that the contractors who were giving critical projects to handle will require bank financing. And if you understand how these things work, the banks are concerned, giving money to contractors, especially contractors working with government, because of concerns about payment. So what the state government did to ensure that these contractors have access to funding was to guarantee a loan sum for them, 100 billion naira. What that meant was contractors who had gotten contracts could approach the bank, and I don't mind mentioning the bank, it was First Bank, could approach the bank, get a loan that the government has already guaranteed. And as they are paid, at different phases of the project or at completion, they repay those amounts. So naturally, because the government is guaranteeing that loan, it is written against the government as an obligation, and that's why it reflected in that. Governor Monday Okpebholo has managed Edo State resources very responsibly, very prudently, and the evidence is there for everybody to see. In your opening remarks, you made reference to the fact that people say there's no infrastructure on ground. That's not true. Edo State is a construction site. I'm sure we're all aware that for the first time in the history of the state since inception, where the governor is building 3 new flyovers. One is basically completed, one has gone at advanced stage, and one will be starting very soon. The governor at this moment is working on over 500 kilometers of roads, all of this in less than 2 years. We see the intervention in agriculture. We see the intervention in, several aspects of the economy. So the governor has managed resources pretty well. The reflection of that figure was not because the governor borrowed to do anything. It was just a guarantee for the contractors. And if you see the performance, from the DMO figures, if you see how the figures have worked, you will see that there has been some payments already made out of that money. And what that means in a short while, when those contractors are done with their work and the government pays them and they make those payments, that loan will be taken off. So it's important that the people understand, very importantly, where that figure came from. It's not because the governor has not had need to borrow. Like I said, the governor has funded all of his activities largely from federal allocation, which has improved greatly due to the president's policies, particularly removing of fuel subsidy payments. And of course, the IGR that the governor has worked very hard to build up. So that's the situation with that debt. The governor did not take a loan to fund any of his expenses. It was a guaranteed contractor financing obligation that the governor guaranteed for contractors who handle government projects.
Okay, all right. If you say that was for the guaranteed facilities and, of course, guaranteed financial obligation, the question still stands that looking at some of the infrastructure, are they infrastructures that the people actually are calling for, or the infrastructures that the governor has chosen to do himself? Because there are also videos showing some of the state of the road, especially the road leading to the governor's area, how people are struggling to use that road. That's one. I'd like you to talk on that. There's one on the screen as well. And these are the people of Benin State talking about that. Secondly, we'd also like you to expatiate more on the 4,800 SAs. 4,800. We did mention that as well. So what's your take on that?
Thank you very much. One of the major differences between this administration and, probably some other administration in the past, particularly the immediate past, is the approach of the governor to governance. The governor approaches a top-to-bottom approach to governance. Everything the governor does is influenced by 2 major factors. One, during the campaigns for governorship, he went around the 192 wards, spoke to the people. If you can remember the campaigns in Edo in that election, one of the major complaints or one of the major comments made about the governor was that he wasn't talking to the press, he wasn't talking so much. It was because he focused more on engaging the people at the grassroots. The governor is a grassroots governor. So everything he does since he came into, everything he's done since he has come into office and he's still doing, are based on what the needs of the people are. And I'll appeal that you don't rely on biased commentary you probably will see online or see somewhere else. Do a fact-finding tour on your own behalf and see things for yourself. If we're referring to the flyover projects, the governor is also somebody who's building for the future. There are certain, I can imagine if we had a civilian administration when the 3rd mainland bridge was built, and then the government announced, oh, we are building the 3rd mainland bridge, this is what it's going to cost. You will have people who will say, is that the most important issue now? People are hungry. There's no needs. We already have 1 or 2 other mainland bridges. But at the end of the day today, many of us are grateful for projects like that. So the governor is also building for the future. All of the flyovers that the governor is working on are projects that will open up Edo State to massive opportunities, that will open up Edo State to investments, that will open up Edo State as a major gateway for commerce. I don't know if I'll have time to go into the importance of each of those projects, but to answer your question directly, everything the governor has engaged in have been things that the people realized that they need.
So what are some of
which is why we're having you here, to help clear some of these doubts. If you can please speak to some of these projects. I know you've mentioned some, but if you can speak into these projects, at least the people of Edo State can see what is being done rather than make assumptions and speculations.
So if you dig deeper, like I said, you see a lot of what the governor is doing. We've had a rough couple of weeks because of the political situation with Osun. So we faced a lot of heat. So it's natural to see people trying to throw up. Of course, there's no location in this country, and I dare say even in the world where everything is perfect. All the roads are perfect. I mean, everything is, there's nowhere you will go to where you still, because governance is work in progress. Everything will not be fixed overnight. Everything will not be fixed in a day. I always remind people, let us remember that Governor Monday Okpebholo has not even gone halfway into his tenure. He's less than 2 years into his tenure, and a lot of the things that he's done are a reflection of how much impact he has made in such a short time. Now, Benin City has a unique position. It is a gateway. It's a gateway town. It's a transit city. What it means is that through the Aduwawa axis, you can access the north directly through the Benin Asaba Road. Benin Agbo Road. You are accessing the southeast directly through the Benin Saple Road. You are accessing the south directly, and through the Lagos through the Benin Shagamu Express, you are accessing the west directly. So Benin is positioned at the place where it's very easy to distribute. It's very easy to access every part of the country. And that's why companies like Guinness in the past set up major factories in that place. Now, the Ramat Park flyover is at the intersection that connects vehicles coming from the southwest, vehicles coming from the south-south, going to the southeast and to the north. So that infrastructure is very key. For a long time, it was small 2-lane roads, on both sides, and a market had built up at that place. So anybody who stayed in Benin knew what it was to commute on that place. And what's interesting is that several administrations ago, I think the administration of General Okpebholo in the early 80s, actually started some work on raising that flyover, but obviously didn't complete it, and that had been there. The governor, who, like I said, is building for the future, who's positioning Edo State for the future, decided it was important that that infrastructure was put there. And I mean, that's going to change the face of commerce and the face of trade in that area. Benin can become a logistic hub. We can have companies coming to set up because they know it's easy to get their goods out, among several other projects. Let me refer particularly to the road you said leads to the government house. Now, those are GRA roads. Without a doubt, GRA roads are in bad shape. And before I talk about what the governor is doing about that, one of the nicknames of the former governor, the governor that left, was Wait and See. As when he was coasting to his second term election, his nickname was Wait and See. And why did Benin people give him that nickname? Because you'll be driving home in the evening, and a road that you passed at night, it's bad. In the morning, you are driving back on that road, and the road has been worked on overnight. So everybody started calling him Wake and See. So you wake up and see good roads. The question is, where are all those roads today? If those roads were durable and had stayed, we will be talking about bad roads in Benin City today. And the problem is that Benin, the GRA part of Benin City, has a major problem, and that's the fact that it developed without drainages. There is no drainage in GRA. So what happens is that when water falls, when rain falls, when water gathers, there's no way for it to go, and that impacts on the road terribly. Governor Okpebholo is not a governor who whitewashes. He's not a governor who, if the president has made funds available to him, he'll spend it for Edo people. So there are major plans already to attend to the GRA road. The governor lives in GRA, so he drives on those roads. If the governor can be, building new roads and fixing roads everywhere, is it the one that he takes every day that he won't attend to? So there are major plans to fix, the problem with GRA roads and GRA drainages permanently. But that can be done in the raining season, which is where we are. It's raining heavily. If you know anything about Benin, you know that our rains can be very unfriendly at times. So when the rain stops, we'll begin to see work. Like I said, the governor is not going to be able to fix everything in one day, but he has made tremendous progress. Like I told you, over 500 kilometers of road at different stages of completion, have been worked on since he came in. So these are projects that are critical, and the governor is alive to his responsibility.
You didn't answer my colleague's question on the 4,800 essays, and many people have also been wondering that do they have particular portfolios? And it's quite a huge number. So could you shed more light on that, please?
Okay, so when we say essays, it's important we clarify that these essays are not special advisors. So you have special advisors, you have senior special assistants, and then you have special assistants. So these essays are special assistants. They are on a much lower rung. So let's not confuse that with special advisors. Now, the governor, who, like I had explained before, is a very grassrooted person whose style of governance is from the grassroots. He's very, very particular about the grassroots, about the rural areas. A lot of his interventions are taking place in the rural areas because he wants to take opportunities to those places, curb, urban migration, and also ensure that, people can stay in any part of the state and thrive. So as part of the governor's mechanisms to ensure that grassroots gets to the development and administration, he is connected to the grassroots. The governor, with his team sat down and they came up with a strategy to appoint this, individuals, 25 in each ward. Now, if you calculate 192 words by these 25 in each word, it gives us that figure. So it's also important to clarify that the governor didn't just wake up and say he wanted to appoint 4,800 people. He didn't get the question from the answer.
So what's their job description? Because you said the governor is a grassroots person.
I'm coming into that. So the appointees have three major decisions. One is to communicate government actions, is to communicate government policies, is to communicate government initiatives to their wards, to the grassroots, to carry the people along. That's one. Secondly, it is to be a feedback mechanism for the government, to have people who report directly. The governor is not somebody who just sits down, he gives instructions or he initiates projects and sits down in his office. He wants to have, apart from the already established structures that communicate across these different tiers, he needed to have his direct people on ground. So firstly, like I said, is communicating government activities, communicating government efforts, communicating government policies to the people, bringing a feedback from the people to government. So there's a quicker response time if there's a community that has any issue that requires government attention. With the presence of these individuals, they're able to immediately communicate. And thirdly, and also very importantly, is to act as gatekeepers over government projects in these communities. So as the government, like I told you, Benin City is a construction. There's so much government projects going on everywhere. And these people are like the government's eye on those projects to ensure that contractors, if you study the governor, he's always on project inspection. He's always moving around, checking on projects. He monitors projects all through till the end because of his prudent management of resources. So these projects are widespread. Part of what these people are going to be doing is to ensure that these projects are properly carried out. If there's any issue, they cannot. So it's basically a communication channel, a very strong communication channel that the governor has established for all of the wards. The people who are going to be employed are Edo State citizens. The salaries that they are going to be paid, as stipulated by law, there's a standard payment for special assistance. So it's not like there's a new payment that's going to be brought up, are going to be spent in Edo State. We're coming from a government that leveraged heavily on external consultants. We had consultants coming to the state, and for basic tax that the civil service could handle, took away billions. If the governor has decided, let me work with my people and ensure that this income, this revenue is retained, they'll go to the markets in Edo State, they'll pay school fees, so the money still stays within the system. So that's some of the governor's thinking behind that move to make those appointments.
All right, so here's hoping that these 4,000 essays would, like you said, part of their responsibility is to oversee government projects. And we wouldn't want a situation where these projects or these roads are being commissioned and in another 1 year, they're not working. We want to see that, there is someone who's following, there are people following up with them. Let's move on to laws and see what's happening with the Edo State House of Assembly. This former speaker, he's now the former speaker, Blessing Agbebaku, has resigned amid rumors of an attempted plan to impeach him. And now he's been replaced by Yekini Idiaye, who's a member representing Akoko-Edo constituency 1. What has led to this, and how is the governor's reaction to this resignation?
One thing Senator Monday Okpebholo has done since becoming governor is to maintain the sanctity of, the different arms of government. Governor Monday Okpebholo does not interfere in the judiciary. He does not interfere in the legislature. What we saw yesterday was purely a legislative action. He was suspended by his colleagues. He was an internal, and the governor does not interfere in that. To show you and to prove to you that the governor has nothing to do with that. In the governor's statement yesterday, what he said was they should maintain peace, and the House has been so peaceful. Remember that the speaker was speaker while the former administration was in office, and he was a PDP member. When the governor came into power, when the governor won as an APC leader, we know traditionally what happens next. There's always a change in the House. I mean, now there's APC in government. It's very easy. But the governor is not that kind of person. He allowed the House their independence to do what they needed to do. And he remained Speaker. I mean, he remained Speaker even when he came to the APC. He remained Speaker up to the point where his colleagues made the move that they made yesterday. So I won't be able to speak so much to that because it doesn't concern my principal. My principal's concern is just that there's peace. We've seen violent change of leadership in the House of Assembly in past years. Whenever there's the time to change the speaker, there's fighting, the roof of the assembly is taking off, truckload of sand is poured. I mean, but look at the very peaceful and rancor-free way that change was done yesterday. So it's purely legislative action, and the governor welcomes whatever decisions they take, as long as they're all on the same page to ensure that Edo State is developed and he gives the Edo people.
Now let's talk about the economy in Edo State. And during the course of our conversation, you did talk about the interesting geography of Edo State and where it lies, Benin City. So it should also work to its advantage when it comes to the economy. Now, despite your state's economic potential, what's your government's concrete strategy for attracting investment and creating sustainable jobs beyond the announcement of MOUs? And how do you also plan to harness your diaspora population that is spread across the world?
A very conducive. I mean, investors, when they come into a location, across board, there are basic things that they want: a conducive environment, ease of doing business, business-friendly processes, security for their investments. And these are things that the governor has been working assiduously to maintain over the last couple of, in the time that he has been in office, which I remind you again is less than halfway, it's less than 2 years. If there's one thing that even the opposition cannot deny, and they give the governor credit for, has been what he has done with security. It's been phenomenal. I mean, just a couple of months ago, the governor was the poster boy of how security should be managed nationally. He was a reference point. The governor has brought to the barest minimum violent crimes in the state through aggressive approach, getting the citizens involved, ensuring that everybody is a part of security. And that has been paying off. Edo State is a very, very, very secure space as we are today. One of the major issues that plagued our state was the issue of cultism. It was terrible. I mean, in years past, we had these wars happening almost every month. And whenever it happened, you had a situation where you had as much as 20, 30 people dying. I mean, Benin was a shadow of itself. But the governor has basically totally crushed cultism. So Edo is a safer space. In terms of ease of doing business, the government has, reorganized the processes of engaging government and doing business, and it's a much easier process. The governor is opening up the space, creating infrastructure, providing friendly business incentives for investors. Since this administration came in, the governor has held 2 international investment summits. One was at the sidelines of the World Bank spring meetings in April 2025. And then he had one later in the year in Glasgow, where investors were engaged and Edo State was sold. He saw the diaspora community a couple of weeks ago. He was in London to engage the Edo citizens there. And of course, it was a meet and greet. But of course, conversations around investments came up. People asked questions that the government provided. And it has been yielding a lot of results. I can just mention a few. There's a major 100 megawatt power project going on in Ologbo, in Edo South, by the Chinese company CCETC to generate 100 megawatts of power. That's already ongoing. And the Edo State government, unlike in the past when things like that were done, government resources were put in with nothing for the government. In this particular case, the Edo State government has 10% stake in that project. We also have a company, Zeta Automobile, who have come to establish an automobile plant, a $3 million automobile plant. That's ongoing in terms of construction. We also have a 7.7 megawatt mini grid electricity project by IZ Energy Limited going on in Edo Central. We have a 3.3 megawatt mini grid electricity project by Halimat Hospital going on in Okpebholo in Edo North, among several others across real estate, across agriculture. Many of these investors are already coming in. And we can already begin to see the impact in the state's IGR, which the governor has grown from about 8 billion, which we met, to an average of around 9, 10, 11 billion monthly. And when a lot of these other investment projects come on board, we'll begin to see much improved revenue service, which further justifies why the governor does not need to take a loan at this time to fund any of his projects. So in terms of investments, we have a lot of PPP projects going on across the state, and Edo State has been very attractive to investors. Okay. Many of our diaspora who are now assured of the security of the state, the security of their investments, are also, bringing in critical funds to set up establishment. So Edo State has been doing well in terms of attracting investments and financial attention.
So, just a quick recap to reiterate all that we've said. So you've clarified that the 4,800 are not special advisors, okay?
No, special assistants.
They are special assistants. And you've reeled out their job descriptions to ensure that they monitor the progress of what the governor is doing in each local community, coming down to the level, all right? And also you mentioned that they are to communicate the government's goals and much more. That's fine. You've also mentioned the debt profile. It's not as a result of borrowing. It's as a result of, standing in as for the engineers so that they can go ahead and, carry on construction. That's fine. But we cannot leave this conversation without talking about public communication, especially when it comes to the optics, perception, most importantly, perception management. You will recall that just a few hours ago, a few days ago, the Osun State election just wrapped up. And in the build-up to that election, by virtue of the governor's leaning towards a political party or being a member of the APC, we did see some of his communicators, in view of calling them hype men, were raining threats on a few persons, especially using words like you would pack and go, would end you, this would be the last, and so on. Is your principal, is he really concerned about the people that surround him and are in any way making such videos out there? Do you think it any way aligns with what your principal stands for, which is the governor of Edo State? And has he in any way tried to adjust these particular individuals who represent him in the public space? Remember, I'm asking questions based on public perception in line of communication.
Even though I knew I was coming to talk about the economy and borrowing, I'd have been surprised if Osun State did not come into the conversation. And I welcome that.
It's part of the questions. Our viewers are saying, let's hear what... And while you're answering that, you can also share what you think about the elections.
Yeah, I appreciate the question because it state our position. It's funny to see how it's been taken. We all know how campaigns and elections are in this country. They can get very heated. We know how passionate campaigns can be. This is not the first time, and I don't think anything the governor said is the worst thing that anybody has said. For example, at the last presidential campaigns, we saw where a chieftain of a political party, in mocking the president's health, was falling on the floor in a campaign rally, signifying that, the president will probably drop dead. We had people, compose songs, talking about the president, talking about. So I don't know. It's campaign, it's politics. What the governor said was the governor has tremendous respect for the governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, as a fellow governor. He wouldn't do anything or say anything to malign or it's politics, it's campaigns. And now that a result has been done, the governor wishes Osun people well. He's happy that, the will of Osun people, the governor is a Democrat. He's happy that the will of Osun people, and people should understand that. Things happen in campaign, things are said, but it's not personal. It's not, if they see tomorrow, two of them will hug and laugh. And when the governor was having his election in 2024, Governor Adeleke came to support the PDP candidate.
All right, so it's all political rhetoric. It's all political rhetoric.
Sorry?
So if I hear you correctly, it's all political banter.
Politics, all that is past. Okay. The governor has respect for Senator Adeleke.
But one of those thugs who were caught on camera, threatening Davido, saying he wouldn't come into Osun State, there were those who pushed and said, why are these people here? It's not even their state.
Yeah, I don't know who specifically you're talking about, but I mean, in your earlier remarks, in your colleague's earlier remarks, he made reference to some individuals. And when he mentioned the word hype men, I think I understand the people he's talking about. It's important to state that those people are not appointees of government. They do not represent government. The party has supporters.
But they're in close proximity with your principal.
Our governor is a grassroots person. People move around him. When he moves, there are a lot of people. I mean, the governor can't start selecting. Don't follow me. I mean, they are APC supporters. They are the governor. So the governor has different kinds. That you have two who are more vocal than others. I mean, it's nothing. They are doing what they are doing. It's their personal.
Okay. Just before,
there's no time they have said the governor.
Just before we let you go, I would also like you to confirm if this is political rhetoric or not. Your principal seems to be very interested in Mr. President returning to the villa rather than his own elections. And in 2024, when he emerged governor of Edo State, it took 291,667 votes over his closest contestant to emerge as governor. So, and he's been promising 2 million plus votes for Mr. President in 2027. Where are those votes going to come from? Since he didn't even get 500,000 votes in his own elections. Is it political rhetoric, or is this serious about this millions of votes for Mr. President? And also, there was an instruction given by Mr. Jackson Tenebe that appointees of the state should wear the president's personal insignia when attending council meetings. What has compliance been like? And does the governor also support that?
Yeah, okay. Let me quickly answer that. That instruction mandate actually came from the governor, not from the APC chairman. But I'll come to that. What the governor has done, I also don't know why this stirs up so much contention and stirs up so much criticism. Successful people set targets for themselves. The governor has set an ambitious target for himself to say, at the next election, I'm going to work hard to ensure that the president gets over 2 million votes. So I think he should be praised for that, even if he does. I mean, we all cry about voter apathy. And if somebody has set a target to ensure that this number of votes come out of Edo State, I think he should be commended for that. So that's a target the governor has set for himself. Now, the next question is it possible? Yes. Why do I say it's possible? Do we have up to 3 million voters in Edo State? Yes, we do. I mean, by the time the results of the latest round of registrations come out, I'm sure we'll cross about 3 million. So the votes are there to be gotten. Now, what leads to low voter turnout? You just mentioned the figures that got him into office in 2024 and talked about how low the figures were. It is because the majority of the registered voters did not come out. So what leads to low voter turnout? One, non-registration when it's time for registration, when people don't go and register. Secondly, after registration, when it's time to collect PVCs, people don't go and collect their PVCs. Thirdly, on election day, maybe because of voter apathy or fear of violence, a lot of people, or just laxity, people don't come out to vote. What it means is that if you can fix these three parts, when it's time for registration, mobilize as many people as you can to go and register. When it's time for collection of PVCs, mobilize as much people as possible to go and collect their PVCs. And when it's time for the election, encourage them, mobilize, use your grassroots structure, and ensure they come out to vote. If you can handle those three parts successfully, you will get very good numbers in votes. Look at how many votes came out of Osun State in this last election. Close to 1 million. I don't think Osun State has had that number before. It just shows that people are waking up and people are more interested in the electoral process. And when you have a governor who has set that target for himself, knowing fully well that his performance will also help in driving that, every time you see him give credit to the president, he knows what he's doing. You know, because he knows that the work he's doing, if you can let the people know, it's because, like we say in this place, if you reach your turn, no thank your helper. He knows that the governor has been the president has been helpful to him in ensuring that he has funds to work. And I mean, the people believe that. And when it's time, the people will follow him in the direction.
Well, unfortunately, out of time. But my colleague's second question had been about the Infinity logo. But I guess
some other time.
I mean, I can see your nice brooch.
Thank you. Yeah, that's me keeping up with the chat. We love the president. We support the president, and we're proud to identify with you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.